Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Hope you're well. Man. Can we take the week off? Can we just call it a day? I'll explain momentarily, and we'll touch on some things here. Sorry.
Was there a Seminole Headlines curse?
Yeah. It's rare that I come on the show and have to pause like this without any grandiose opening or anything like that, so forgive me, folks, but this is actually, we're kind of in the middle of some breaking news here. Oh, but settle down. It's okay. I mean, nobody's hurt or anything like that. It's not the end of the world. It's just it's a little discouraging. I'll get to it momentarily. We're online.
The FBI's not in town for anything?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
No, everything's all right. We're online. As always, you can listen live via the streaming there. You can find us on Twitter at Jay Cameron Show.
Man, you sound down.
It's just been tough, man. You know, I mean, I'm frustrated. I think the frustration I feel is that, on the one hand, if you're just talking about recruiting, by the way, the fallout recruiting from yesterday, and Headlines is on today from 4 to 6. You got regular JCS here from 3 to 4. And, you know, I mean, I understand. There's a lot of apprehension and concern surrounding that. But, you know, I deal with that. I don't get down about that. That's just what it is. It's just, well, here's the good, here's the bad, and here's everything in between. Now we got to wait and see. The problem is the wait and see. So it can't be really resolved. This whole thing with any negativity or anything like that you hear people talking about with the program. Well, first of all, that's what comes with 5 and 7. That's what comes with looking disorganized. That's what comes with back-to-back bad seasons. So, I mean, I don't really care about hearing people complain about, negativity. That's what the hell happens at any program anywhere. I'm going to say this now real quick. I want to get this out of the way. This fan base is no different, frankly, than any other fan base who has high expectations for their football program and those expectations aren't met. That's anywhere. If you're at Georgia, if you're at Florida, if you're at Alabama, if you're at Michigan, you're at Southern Cal, you name it, Texas, Oklahoma, if those teams stink, their fans are unhappy and they voice their displeasure. That's how that works. There are standards here, man, and you can't avoid that. If you're 5 and 7, you're going to hear negative things. Whether it's on social media, which you should be ignoring altogether, or whether it's from the money men in the program who care deeply about the finances and everybody in between. That's what comes with poor seasons, poor football, and it's what comes when expectations aren't met. It's the very definition of disappointment. So I don't care about that. I think we're all big boys here. You get it. I mean, that's the way it works. If you don't do your job, your bosses complain about it, and so does everybody else that's affected by it. And in this case, you know, a ton of alumni and boosters and fans worldwide. So you're going to hear from them. But what I don't like about that is that the thing that we need to see happen to change the tenor and kind of change the narrative can't happen until we play a football game against Boise State over in Jacksonville.
Which is like next week, right?
I mean, my God, we're going to be waiting an awful long time, right? So you're just stuck with the same circular arguments where, you know, you point out the bad, I point out the good, somebody else comes in and reacts to that, and then we go round and around we go. But nothing changes until games begin to get played and wins are amassed. And that's how that works. But we've been able to fall back, luckily, on the basketball program, which has a lot of good things going for it, and this news doesn't change that. But it doesn't look good for Anthony Edwards, gang. It was looking real good for a long, long time.
You son of a...
And I'll tell you this, we were talking on Headlines about, I mean, it's really, truly the Headlines curse. We were talking on Headlines earlier today, which is going to come up at 4 o'clock, about Anthony Edwards and how much we wished for Leonard in that program that it could happen, that he's worked hard to turn this into something that could even be considered by the nation's elite recruits, which has happened.
Well, that doesn't change.
That doesn't change. And so, you know, we were excited about, hey, maybe this is like the grand reward, like the cherry on top. You get this kid who many people think is the number one recruit in the country, right? But as we start the show today, I'll just say it's not a done deal. It has not been confirmed as of right now. Can I call them rumblings? But when I say rumblings, we're talking about from really reliable sources and people who don't care all that much about being first, but rather about being right. They're saying the young man may have wavered on visiting town this weekend. May not happen. I suppose that could mean he's already decided he doesn't need to see it. He's coming. I suppose. But my interpretation of him not coming here this weekend for the Louisville game on Saturday that we've been talking about all week would mean that he's going to go ahead and commit to hometown Georgia. That's the way I would take that.
Or Kentucky, which is where he has visited before. So.
Or Kentucky, right. So I don't know. I mean, that part of it I don't know. You could say I'm jumping to conclusions. But it seems to me we were the last university he was going to visit.
Jeez. I mean, he told Kansas to go to hell. He told
North Carolina to go to hell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like he may have canceled his visit for this weekend, and I can't help but conclude that that's not good news for Florida State. So a couple of us are looking into it.
Is that 100% confirmed?
That he canceled his visit?
Yes. That he's not coming here? I mean, are we working the phone saying, hey, hang on a minute, young man?
No, it's not 100% confirmed. That's why I called it rumblings.
Have you been to the deck on a Saturday afternoon?
That's why I called it rumblings. I'm letting you know that it's not 100% confirmed, but two people that I trust an awful lot have reached out to me minutes before this show began to tell me that it's not looking good in terms of an Anthony Edwards visit this weekend. Hey, you know what? Maybe we convince him otherwise. Maybe that's what he initially said. Hey, guys, I've decided not to come, and maybe right now you're right. We're burning up the phone lines with young man. I promise you, you have the time of a lifetime if you come here. You got to see what you're missing. Come on down. Let's enjoy this game together against Louisville. Let's talk about this.
So $50,000 for the Monopoly game we're playing later is not enough. Fine, we'll start you with $100,000 Monopoly dollars. No problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, he's going to be a multimillionaire. I don't think money would be the deal there. I think
exactly. That's right. $150,000 Monopoly dollars. No problem. We're going to play this board game and it'll be fun.
But man, anybody want to get a running start and kick me in the conies? I mean, we've had a.
Did I hear $500,000 Monopoly dollars? $500,000. I
don't think money's the issue.
We'll let you be the banker. Come on.
You be the banker. Yeah, I don't think money's the issue here. So, we're gonna find out. If we get a confirmation before the end of this hour, anyhow, I'll be able to tell you more. If not, then somebody else will tell you.
Let us live the lie. If you get confirmation and nobody else does, let's just go to sleep tonight and be comfortable and not worry about it.
Well, he's coming, Tom, and he can't wait to commit.
All right. Yes. I love the way you lie.
There it is. There it is. As for Florida State, and you know, I talked about this today, both on headlines. I'll do it here with you, and I've certainly those that called me last night. I mean, you know, I think the shame of yesterday is that when you don't get the quarterback, it's less about that particular quarterback and more about the look, more about the problem, the optics of that. It could still work out, and it does certainly provide a depth chart issue potentially. But I think it is, again, more about this idea that, hey, man, what are we doing over here? I mean, you got to be better than that. It's Florida State. How do you fail to attract a recruit at the most important position on the field, at a position of need, after you thought you had a kid locked up for weeks on end? Somebody swoops in and gets you after 11 days of recruiting him? You got fleeced by the Howell kid, made you look foolish. A lot of people told you that was going to happen. You hadn't fostered other relationships yet. I mean, what were we doing here? And I think by hyper-focusing on that, which I understand brings about a level of concern that is justified, you do happen to ignore the fact that, man, they did really well in the secondary. They did really well at linebacker, and they did more than okay at that offensive line. So real areas of need were satisfied, but I don't know that anybody wants to hear that. And I also think that maybe the event last night at the Car Museum didn't help bolster energy, make people feel real good about the situation. And
Looked like there was more feedback on the mic than in the crowd for that event.
I think they were stuck there too, because on the one hand, you can't be over the top giddy. It's a good class, but by Florida State standards, it's nothing to, dance about over. I mean, it's not like, Florida State is accustomed to amassing the kind of talent that next to the ranking of said class, you see a 3, a 1, a 7, a 10, not a 19, not a 15, not a 22. No, so this wasn't going to stir the pot in terms of emotion in a good way. They were going to go, well, kind of middling. You're supposed to be a recruiting expert. What the hell are we doing here? It's just one more thing that adds to the ledger of concern. At the same time, I think the frustration can only be remedied and really, in some ways satisfied or turned around when you start winning games, and it's a long way before we play those games.
Those first 8 months were killer, though. That offseason was fantastic. I'm not joking. The spring game was fantastic. The booster tours were all home runs. The recruiting class was salvaged. Had a better rating than this year's recruiting class even.
Which in 6 weeks he was able to do.
Yeah. So, well, that tells you the 5 and 7
It tells
matters.
you 5 and 7.
5 and 7 without a coaching change, especially, matters.
Head
coach.
Yeah. I know. So 5 and 7.
A head coach of Maryland can pry a 4-star away from Florida State. Look at the power of a new head coach.
Well, 5 and 7 will put a crimp in your style. It will certainly dampen your enthusiasm for a place. So you're seeing the result of that. There's no getting around that. Damn, this Anthony Edwards. Come on, kid.
Yeah, I know, man.
Come on, kid.
I can see you look destroyed. People on YouTube and Periscope can see around the world that you look destroyed.
Well, I'm probably tired. I worked late last night, did the golf show with my good buddy Trey Jones, who, by the way, led a remarkable comeback, or his kids did. Mm-hmm. All 4 went under par as we hawked down the Gators over there in Jacksonville. That was doing some things. That was a nice win, and we talked about it last night on the show, but I was up late. Celebrating that win. Well, actually doing work. It wasn't a celebration.
Right, yeah.
We were on the air.
All 4 that posted. They had a couple of guys have a rough day. But, hey,
no, all 4 that posted.
4 that post.
Yeah. Well, by the way, the reason that was important, the 4 that posted, freshman, sophomore. So you had true freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Mm-hmm. That's nice. That's spread out.
That's good spread out. But you need the youth to carry that team a little bit. I was reading, hey, man, Trey, I read the releases.
And Pac won. You saw that.
That's right. I read the releases, Trey. You said the seniors have to carry the day. Maybe a little bit. But I think some of those young kids.
Johnny Pac's going to have to keep winning.
Yeah, I think Johnny Pac might have to be your star.
He's a sophomore, and he wins again. Flex. That's my kid right there.
Invitational's in 2 weeks, people.
It's my guy. All right, I'm still waiting for confirmation on this. But again, the story as we start today's show is not a good one. It's that it looks like Anthony Edwards may have, could just be a vicious rumor that really normally reliable sources.
That would be vicious. I'm rooting for it to be vicious.
Oh, I'd rather that be the case. I'd rather come back on and go, I probably shouldn't approach that subject. Everything's fine. He'll be here at 2 o'clock on Friday. That would be great. I somehow don't think that's accurate. Jeff Cameron, Show 97.9, ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Deck are the best people in the business. Metro Deli. Breakfast, eat, sandwiches, and wraps too. Metro Deli is the spot for you. Oh, yeah. Metro Deli. And hey, don't throw stones from my deck. That's not cool. Someone might get hurt.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You can do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Once again, all of you with stellar credit ratings, congratulations. And this message is not for you. All last year, I talked about our New For You program to assist good people with dings in their credit. And just last week, a friend of mine came into my office worried about his own credit rating. But thanks to our New For You program, you guessed it, he drove away in a brand new Nissan Altima. We are proud of the fact that we have helped hundreds of people that were previously limited shopping little used car lots where they overpaid, got huge finance charges, and had very few choices on cars to purchase. Some of those lots may actually hurt your credit more than they could ever help. So remember, credit score under 600? Come on in. Recent bankruptcy? Come on in. Recently divorced? Come on in. Think you have a financial problem we've never heard of? Come on in to Kraft Nissan and come see the one dealer in Tallahassee that can really help you out. Come see the cars that everyone wants at the hottest dealer in town, Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco, or visit us on the web at craftnissan.com.
Hey, it's Drew, and I'm here with Nick, who just bought a new Hyundai and is raving about the Shopper Assurance Program. Why's that, Nick?
Big purchases are stressful. I mean, like visiting the dealership. It's like a lot. But this was pretty easy. I mean, they're fast. They actually knew the cars they're talking about. But here's the best part. It's got a 3-day guarantee. So, I got time to play with it. Make sure Hyundai was the right call.
Thanks, Nick. Experience Hyundai's Shopper Assurance Program for yourself. It's designed to help make buying a new car as enjoyable as driving one. Visit HyundaiUSA.com/Shopper Assurance.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Scherer Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
Some job recruitment sites overload your inbox with resumes. Glassdoor knows not just any will do. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. In fact, Glassdoor hires are 30% more likely to stay with your company longer, and Glassdoor can help you find that perfect candidate in half the resumes. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
Golic and Wingo.
You're telling me that a guy whom I love as a player, in Julian Edelman, and has a Super Bowl MVP, is playing his way into the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I don't think so.
We're going to sit here and make it sound like, we're ripping Julian Edelman right now.
In any way, shape, or form.
This is the position we kind of got put in because of that tweet. There's no way he's getting into the Hall of Fame.
No.
The better talk is, and I heard you talking about, is Gronkowski going to go down as the greatest tight end of all time? He's going in the Hall of Fame. I didn't expect this one. I was stunned to read this. I mean, did anybody here look at that and say he has a shot?
No. I mean, to me, he's a Hall of Gamer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the ultimate.
He's a Hall of Postseasoner.
This is Eli Manning syndrome. 2 great postseason runs, and obviously that is the foundation for the Eli Manning Hall of Fame case that we always make when we have that debate with him. And I feel like that's the case for Julian Edelman here on a much lesser scale, too.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Time for another deck party. This Saturday, the Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee is hosting a Sports Monster pregame party and walkover ahead of the big basketball game at the Civic Center. The Noles will take the court at 4 p.m., so make the Deck your pregame headquarters. Doors open at 11 a.m., happy hour specials go all day long, and enjoy Tallahassee's finest Neapolitan-style pizza and the Deck signature monkey bread. On special for $5 from the folks who brought you Metro Deli. The Deck Pizza Pub is now downtown Tallahassee's spot for pizza and craft brews and cocktails. We'll see you there on Saturday.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Hall of Famer Frank Robinson passes away today. I'll get to that momentarily. Sad news there. What a good life, though. Document some of that here in a few minutes. Again, if you're just joining us, maybe a shakeup. Could very well be that, and I can't confirm this yet, by the way, so some of you have run and said that I'm reporting it as done. I'm not. I'm just telling you.
Not a newspaper. This is sports talk radio, people.
Well, and also I'm not trying to mislead you, and I don't do that. And you know me. If you guys have been listening over the years, I don't throw out things that are irresponsible. I mean, I've been wrong about some things, but I haven't ever purposely come here and tried to be titillating for the hell of it just to make up stuff.
When you said that Christian Ponder wasn't taking any reps in practice.
Turned out I was right.
So you say.
But the I mean, I guess you can't miss what you never had, so I'll try to look at it that way. It's just that you get your hopes up. It's good that you got your hopes up. It's good that Anthony Edwards, if in fact he doesn't come to Florida State, certainly had us on the short list of teams. And if he chooses, I will say this, Tom. Well, I guess what I'll ask you is this. You feel better if he just goes to Georgia and stays with the hometown? Or
a hell of a lot. If he goes to Kentucky,
but if he goes to Kentucky, it's blue blood, man.
But I mean, long-term relationships with Florida State, that means that Kentucky is just Kentucky. Maybe Cal's doing some Cal things.
Just too much to overcome. I mean, they invest in their basketball.
He seems like a heartstrings kid, so yeah. I mean, if the Georgia experience is what he wants for one season because it doesn't matter to him, so. And I think they got Crean, right? So
yeah.
I mean, he's at least a name. It's not like they got a nobody coach and he's just going there for the hell of it. Crean can at least pitch to him that he's coached up some decent players in his career.
Tom's a good coach. Georgia's program is useless, but okay.
But it's home again. It's hometown.
It's home.
You combine those two things.
Yeah.
It's not some slappy, as you like to say yesterday.
Right. We would have been, on the national stage, considered some slappy to get him, although that has changed, too. So, in fairness, that has changed, too. We're a top 25 program.
We're a better program than Georgia is right now. But
infinitely so, and have been for a real long time, like always. So, yeah.
Except that one time they went crazy in the Atlanta tournament when the tornado ripped through town, and they beat everybody to get to the tournament. That was cool.
And when Jim Herrick was cheating, yes.
Yeah.
When he was sending UPSing checks and so forth that he got caught doing. But hey, you know what won't change, Tom? I'll tell you that right now, buddy. Here you go. Here's how we buck up, soldiers. Here's what won't change. The fact that we've won 4 straight ACC games and have a very important one on Saturday at 4 o'clock against Louisville. And if you win that game, and that's a hell of a game, all of a sudden, not only you rolling Big River, but that's 5 straight. You will have a win over another ranked team. You will be 18-5. I mean, at that point, you are cruising to the NCAA tournament. And even if you don't, if it's just a great game, I feel like they've solved some things here, partly because they're getting healthy. Now, Trent Forrest is not going to be healthy the rest of the year. But, again, we talked about this yesterday. We talked about it some on Monday. Again, anytime you're out there and you see Terrence Mann take the court and you see Phil Kofor take the court and those guys are producing and kind of more active than we've seen, then you know they're getting better.
Yeah, they're literally bouncing around and doing some things.
Yes.
If you can do the first part of that and bounce around, that means
you're in good
that
shape.
Feet and heels and whatever, they feel much better. And yeah, the word is they continue to feel better. So that only adds to our frontline depth, which we sorely need, and we were good at offensive rebounding. This will make us even better at offensive rebounding.
I will tell you this. I don't want to get too giddy here. You did it with the schedule. You got me thinking about it, but, I mean, go 4 round and let us win on.
That's what I'm saying, man. You're staring 8-4. I mean, now you go up to Georgia Tech, lay an egg, and score 42 points. Well, we're not above that, I don't think.
I don't think so, but one friend of mine, and this is part of the problem here because you don't have a bunch of blue chippers, and so you do have to win as a team, and you do have to have guys play real well together. And if you have a couple pieces off that particular night, you can lose. But the conversation is that, it's weird. When they play really well, they're capable, just like the team that last year went on the Elite 8 run, of beating anybody in the country. If you don't believe that, see the Duke game. That team is the most talented team in the country, probably by a pretty good margin. And we were every bit their equal in that basketball game. So when you're clicking and playing well, you're capable of beating anybody. that you're capable on an off night of losing to the dregs of this conference and really any other conference. It's just weird that way because we're not a prolific shooting team. We don't have one answer, you know.
We are a bettor's nightmare, right?
I don't touch us. I don't bother with it. If you're asking about Big Daddy J, no chance. I don't mess with it.
Big Daddy, no.
I didn't even mess with that Syracuse game that I thought looked like easy money the other way.
2.5.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not touching that. It's crazy. MyPillow.com. Crazy savings. I just wanted to say that. 4-pack special. Still going on. You get 2 Go Anywhere pillows and 2 My Pillows. Free shipping, money-back guarantee extended all the way through the end of March. If you order right now using my promo code 979ESPN, that's 979ESPN. Use the promo code, get it done, have it free, shipped to your house today.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
2810 Share Road, or call them at 385-7665.
What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Jeff?
You know, buddy, that I like archaeology, right?
Yeah. I'm quite an anarchist myself.
Right. Well, anyhow, do you know what they find the world over when they excavate? You know the item they find the most of?
I don't know, rocks?
Freaking bowls.
Bowls?
Bowls everywhere. In Rome proper, right? Bowls upon bowls upon bowls.
That's very interesting.
What's the high school over in Jacksonville, the one with all the good football players?
Bowls?
Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really?
We should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
It's power time at Walmart Family Mobile. For just $49.88 a month, you can get a truly unlimited plan powered by T-Mobile. Plus now, you get 5 gigabytes of mobile hotspot, giving you the power to surf, share, and stream from any device. Great phones, great value, it's all here. Visit myfamilymobile.com or pick up a plan at Walmart today. Walmart Family Mobile. Get everything you love about Walmart in mobile. Video typically streams at DVD quality. See terms at myfamilymobile.com.
Some job recruitment sites overload your inbox with resumes. Glassdoor knows not just any will do. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. In fact, Glassdoor hires are 30% more likely to stay with your company longer, and Glassdoor can help you find that perfect candidate in half the resumes. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
Okay, that ought to do it. Thanks, Jessica, for coming over and helping me declutter my home.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for. Ooh, check it out. I found some loose change in this corner.
That is the second time you have found some hidden treasures in my house.
Do you know you can find savings in every corner of your home?
Okay, I'm listening.
You can find savings from the city of Tallahassee. With their 5% interest financing for more than 25 energy-efficient appliances, measures, and systems, you can get a loan for things like outdoor lighting, floor, ceiling, and wall insulation, Energy Star reflective roofing, and even things like gas ranges, fire logs, and grills.
Wait, even on grills? I've been shopping around for a new gas grill. I had no idea, and with it getting even darker, I could use some outdoor lighting. It seems the City of Tallahassee's loan program may be the perfect solution.
Well, just be sure and invite me over the next time you grill.
Of course, that's what friends are for.
Take advantage of the City of Tallahassee's loan program and save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com to learn more. That's talgov.com for more information.
After 40 years as Florida State Baseball's head coach, Mike Martin Sr. is making this his final season. Join all of us here at Garnet and Gold as we celebrate the farewell tour for the winningest coach in college baseball history with limited edition commemorative baseballs, t-shirts, and caps in stock right now. And while you're here, check out Nike's hot new line of FSU baseball jerseys, tees, and ball caps. Garnet and Gold with 3 locations, West Pensacola Street, Collard, and Governor Square Boulevard. If you're a Seminole, we're your store. Shop local and go Noles.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Grizzlies will trade center Marc Gasol to the Raptors. In return, Memphis would get Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, C.J. Miles, and a future second-round pick. The Grizzlies also get Avery Bradley in a trade with the Clippers. Los Angeles gets Garrett Temple and JaMychal Green. The Pelicans, Bucks, and Pistons make a 3-team deal today. The Bucks get Nikola Mirotic. The Pelicans get Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, and multiple second-round picks. Last year, 19 of the NBA's 30 teams made a trade on deadline day, the most in 30 years. Anthony Davis of the Pelicans has asked to be traded, but the team is under no obligation to do so today. Davis is under contract through next season, and the Pelicans could give him a supermax contract worth almost $240 million. But Davis says he's not interested in staying. He ranks in the top 4 in the NBA this season in points, rebounds, and blocks. Members of the Super Bowl champ New England Patriots spent some time at ESPN today. Linebacker Kyle Van Noy tried to explain what makes quarterback Tom Brady unique and his influence on the team.
The little details of what he does each and every day, you're like, man, I got to do that, because if that's what he does to get at that level, that's what I want to do, and it raises everybody's level in the entire building, from the janitor to, the owner. They see what he's doing, and they're like, man, I want some of that.
Also from the NBA, after missing almost 3 months with a right foot injury, Nets guard Karis LeVert will be back in the lineup tomorrow night against the Bulls. He was averaging 18 points a game when he got hurt.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Being this close to the start of baseball, it's interesting we get this story today, or at least this news today, I should say. One of the all-time greats, Hall of Famer Frank Robinson, has passed away. And if you'd been following that story in the last year or so, this does not catch you by surprise. He was 83 years old, and he had been battling an illness for some time. And one of the great right fielders, and 21 seasons in the bigs. And, he's the only player, by the way, to be named the most valuable player in both leagues. He was a Triple Crown winner. I mean, if you're just listing exploits, I mean, that is something. He was part of one of the most lopsided trades in history when the Reds traded him to the Orioles. And at the time, it cracks you up because that trade, the owner, Bill DeWitt, was the owner of the Reds at the time, and he called Frank Robinson not a young 30 years old at the time that the Reds gave him up to the Orioles. I believe that's in '66. In the following season, Frank Robinson won the Triple Crown. He hit 49 home runs, including one that is still memorialized. It left Memorial Stadium. And if you go to Camden Yards, a place I've been to many, many times, there's a flag labeled "Here," and it's flown where the ball is said to have landed 541 feet from home plate. Tom, you and I were in Boston together and walking around Fenway, and we did the thing where we stood where Ted Williams' home run hit.
The different seat out in it's
red.
like right center field. Yeah.
It always cracks me up. I've also just bit my tongue while we're talking.
Oh.
That's why I
thought you fought off a sneeze. I was like, what is that, like an internal sneeze?
No, I jerked my head back as I bit my tongue.
It was the ghost of Ted Williams saying, you're damn right.
But no, Frank Robinson, an all-time great, of course, also known as a manager, and he played with 5 teams and had an incredible career. You just look at his numbers; they're jarring. They're so good. It's funny because he's a guy that he was a red ass. There's no way of saying it any other way. I mean, he was a fighter his whole life, and he helped the Orioles win pennants and the World Series over the Dodgers, and they were underdogs in that series. And Boog Powell has talked at length about Frank Robinson, and of course, Frank Robinson also managed in Puerto Rico. He was a fighter. Like I said, he stood close to the plate. They threw at him all the time. He later said that he loved it. That I had the guts to crowd the plate. I didn't mind getting brushed off the plate. It just made me more determined. And the other part of the equation here, he's the first black manager in Major League Baseball history. But it's his significance in Major League Baseball, I really don't think can be overstated. And he went into the Hall of Fame a long, long time ago. I looked it up as soon as I saw that he had died. It was 82 that he went into the Hall of Fame. And I also always hated for him, by the way, and this happened, I can still remember it, right? He, when he was with the Orioles, they had that season that was just dreadful, and he had to take over. He replaced Cal Ripken Sr. after they went 0-6 and then remained on through 1991. And this is a guy who had managed some really bad teams, took over for some really bad teams.
Yes, he did.
and had to wear a lot of those losses, and I thought that made him even more cantankerous. And if you're younger, in Tom's case, you probably just remember him being angry.
I remember him being an angry manager of the Nationals, and he was always angry. Those were the days they played in RFK to first start out their franchise movement from Montreal. Yes, he was never, like, you'd read a quote, and I would spend a week, 10 days in New York in the summer between years in high school and middle school, and for whatever reason, it seemed like we were always playing the Nationals. So I'd read the papers, each day after. He could never give you a positive quote if you beat him. He did not like to lose. He was just forever bitter about losing a baseball game on a given day.
Well, that can happen for a lot of reasons. Losing is one of them, but also having been a guy that arrived in Baltimore at a time in which race relations were not good. And he attempted, I remember reading a story, and there's a lot of documentation of his life and in his career, and you read some today. He comes to Baltimore in 66. The civil rights record in Baltimore in 66 is terrible. And he couldn't find a neighborhood to live in. Even the nursing homes, he once said, discriminated against people of color. He went on ultimately to get the help from the owner who found him a nice place to live, quote unquote. And I think he's a little embittered by that. I understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see how one would be.
He had 10 seasons with 30 or more home runs. He had 5 seasons with 35 or more home runs. 6 times in his career did he have an on-base percentage over 400, and 4 times did he ops over 1,000 in his career. His career on-base percentage is a cool 389. That guy is crazy good. Career ops 926 by modern metrics.
Yeah, imagine him now. Yeah.
He is a jaw-dropping player.
Yeah. All-time great and a first to do many things, including win the MVP in both leagues. So it is. We say rest in peace to Frank Robinson, who dies at the age of 83. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Well, have no fear. Just a stone's throw away from my observation deck are the best people in the business. Metro Deli. Breakfast, eat, sandwiches, and wraps too. Metro Deli is the spot for you. Oh, yeah. Metro Deli. And hey, don't throw stones from my deck. That's not cool. Someone might get hurt.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Hi, this is Peter Bond, owner of Jerry's Cigar Shop. Jerry's has been a local favorite for cigar enthusiasts for the last 25 years. We have the largest walk-in humidors in town, filled to the brim with an amazing cigar selection. Relax in one of our leather chairs and enjoy an ice-cold beer or a glass of wine with your cigar. Jerry's is a great place to watch sports on our big flat-screen TVs and offers a comfortable setting for lively conversation. Visit our original store on Sharer Road or our new second location on Cary Forest Parkway. We hope to see you soon.
Roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
Recently, I've seen a lot of commercials from attorneys and public adjusters trying to cash in on the hurricane damages to your home or business. Using these individuals could result in a reduction in your insurance claim reimbursement. As a licensed roofing and general contractor, we know how to navigate insurance claims so that you don't have to share your reimbursement with an attorney or a public adjuster. If you have questions, give us a call. Our advice is free. Turning your claim over to an attorney or a public adjuster is not.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
Golic and Wingo.
You're telling me that a guy whom I love as a player in Julian Edelman and has a Super Bowl MVP is playing his way into the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I don't think so.
We're going to sit here and make it sound like, we're ripping Julian Edelman right now.
In any way, shape, or form.
This is the position we kind of got put in because of that tweet. There's no way he's getting into the Hall of Fame.
No.
The better talk is, and I heard you talking about, is Gronkowski going to go down as the greatest tight end of all time? He's going in the Hall of Fame. I didn't expect this one. I was stunned to read this. I mean, did anybody here look at that and say he has a shot?
No. I mean, to me, he's a Hall of Gamer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the ultimate.
He's a Hall of postseasoner.
This is Eli Manning syndrome. 2 great postseason runs, and obviously that is the foundation for the Eli Manning Hall of Fame case that we always make when we have that debate with him. And I feel like that's the case for Julian Edelman here on a much lesser scale, too.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So, coming up is Seminole Headlines, and there'll be plenty of talk about what transpired yesterday, just as we've talked about it here this hour. And I guess since the discussion does center around what is the proper reaction to yesterday's signing day, what strikes the proper balance between real concern and evidence for it, and also noted successes and reasons to celebrate. So it's tough. I think that there's room for both, as we've said, and I would also say that, I don't have a problem, not at all, with the people expressing concern or even being angry. I think that when you don't sign a quarterback through either cycle, then, people have a right to say, what the hell are you doing over there? And I think because it speaks to something, it's less about the kid you didn't get. I don't care that much about that kid. I don't think he was a program changer. I think it would have been a nice placeholder, and maybe he would have worked out. Maybe he wouldn't have. I don't know. But I think it's about what it represents. It represents that you couldn't convince anybody at a place with a position of need to say yes to Florida State, and you got beat up by Maryland.
Well, and I get it's recruiting, but you were convinced yourself that he was going to say yes, and then he hoodwinks you.
Yeah, so you were hoodwinked, and you lost out on every other kid you tried to get at the position. So it's not good. When you add it all up, it's Howell and you misplayed that.
They choose North Carolina and Maryland over this program. Yes.
That's the thing, too, is that you don't win all the battles. He's right to talk about that. There were some kids you wanted, but you didn't get. But that's the way it goes in recruiting. That's true. But we know there are differences as to the kids you don't get, the kids you do get, and who you lost them to. And it's one thing if you lose out to Alabama, you lose out to Clemson, you lose out to Florida or Miami or Michigan or something like that. It's a whole nother when you're fighting for 3-star kids with second-class programs in relation to football and lose in those moments, too many of those battles. That's where people go, what are we doing?
Well, and what's Kendall Briles' role going to be? Is he that type of guy that gets on the recruiting trail and kids can't say no to him? I mean, it's a different level here. I mean, that's the one thing that people who are concerned about Willie Taggart, who are level-headed, they'll say, listen, man, I get Oregon as Power 5, but Florida State is Power 5 in the Southeast. You know, that's a bit of a different animal down here. So I get it that Kendall Briles has experience at FAU in the region, at Houston in the region of the SEC, now that Texas A&M is out there in the Big 12. But, I mean, really, is he ready for this, and is he ready to be somebody who can fill in the gaps? And will he do so with more passion than he did yesterday?
Well, I think clearly they wanted him to be subdued, brief, succinct, to the point, off the stage, not a lot of attention being brought. And there's a delicate balance here. You don't want to show up the head coach at the same time. You're not trying to draw attention to yourself either. Haven't been here that long. One of the things that's coming up in headlines, and I don't want to beat it to death, but we're at a place where, Tom, you and I have had this conversation on these airwaves repeatedly, and it's the only thing that's going to, again, really be I think part of the larger conversation going on as we enter into the summer months is none of it matters. Nothing you can say right now, no bit of good news, no bit of terrible news, I suppose, is going to change anything or change minds quite the way winning or losing football games does. And so until they get out there and play Boise State, there's nothing he can say. And that's a tough position to be in because I think Willie understood yesterday at that press conference people wanted a little more. They wanted to be assured that things were going to be all right. But you can't come into that press conference chest puffed out, feeling great about what you did. But you also can't give off signs that you're desperate and worried. So you're trying to strike a balance of measured strength. We're okay. Could be better. I acknowledge that. It's not the end of the world. We really like the kids that came here. But that's hard because signing day is a day where people want to celebrate. They want to celebrate their bright future. They want to get together, like-minded folk, and say, you know what, I know we didn't get so-and-so, but look at this, 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 and this. And I don't think yesterday provided that. Even though caught up in all of this, or lost perhaps is the better way of saying it, lost in all of this is arguably the best secondary class in the country signed, that you filled needs at linebacker, filled needs on the offensive line, all things that would be wins, that are inarguable wins. It's that you didn't get a quarterback. It speaks volumes in the eyes of many about what you're incapable of at this point. I also would counter that and say, hey, listen, if you're 5-7 and your quarterbacks get killed behind a sieve of an offensive line, it's really easy for people to recruit negatively against you. And so any talk of that, and there is all this talk about negativity, well, man, that's what comes with 5-7.
Yeah, I don't really care to hear much about that because it's going to take care of itself if you do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's all.
And all you had to do was not crash into the side of a mountain last year. That's the hard thing. The offensive line is an inescapable talking point when you're talking about the record last year. You have to address it because it was that big of an issue. I mean, a person out at UCLA, a fan of UCLA football, knows about how bad our offensive line is, and they had their own terrible year. So we made ways for that, and that's going to be forever a talking point. But still, man, all you had to do last year was not crash into the side of a freaking mountain, and you would have had still momentum, more positive than negative, to take into this recruiting class, and you didn't get that done. So if you get it done this year, people will be more apt to say, well, I guess it just was the tail end of a culture that had zero chance of succeeding. And they'll want to move forward with it. You got to do it, though. You got to follow through.
What I did was I looked at that entire commitment list, and I looked at the kids that we got, and I was reminded, and if you do it that way, by the way, just for our fellow Knowles, if you do it that way, if you just look at the entirety of the class and the commitment list, and you go one by one, whether you start with Akeem Dent, which is a good place to start, 5-star defensive back, or you move on down the list and you go to Dante Lucas, or you look at linebacker and look at Jaleel McRae, somebody like that. He's a stud. You go on down the list and you might find, let's see, Krishan Fuller is a good place to start there, a defensive end who you beat Alabama for. If you do that, you really kind of come away going, it's a pretty damn good class. I mean, there's a lot of talent here, a lot of game changers potentially, kids that you feel really good about, and that any other year that if all this other stuff wasn't happening, you'd go, okay, I like it. But you can't do it that way. It's not in a vacuum. Yeah. You can't do it that way. You have to acknowledge all the other stuff.
No, I think help is on the way for the defensive back core. It looks like you got a couple of pieces to help in the linebacking group, and you only need 2 of them on the field at a given time. So Dontavius, Amari Gaynor, maybe somebody steps up. Emmett Rice gets healthy. I don't know. But you might have 5-6 viable options to fill 2 spots. I don't want to be 5'9" there again this year, please, and thank you if we can do that. Defensive interior, I don't know how much got better this year. True Thompson is the frontline guy.
I like that kid.
Okay. I think next year has to obviously be defensive line heavy. Offensive line was addressed this year. Receiver, you'll always have some. And even if you don't land 4 or 5 in a class, I feel like you're Florida State University. You'll always have 2 or 3 good guys. And so next year they need to focus on it a little bit more, but I'm not worried about that there. It's just about now, does Jordan Travis get the waiver? And if not, what is the backup plan that doesn't upset the apple cart so much that James Blackman leaves? Maybe I'm alone in that, but I'm worried about if you bring in a high enough profile player that you're going to be switching out 1 for 1. And you're still going to have the same issue.
Depends on the caliber of that player, though, right?
Right. Now, if you you could bring in a lower level, at least where he's coming from, transfer quarterback who has higher upside, but that's not a splash move, so that shouldn't ruffle any feathers. And I get how it sounds. It sounds like James Blackman's a diva. No, just understand that James Blackman at every turn with this coaching staff has been told, nah, not really, not you. I'm not focused on you. So if it happens again, you could understand where the kid would say, I'm never going to be your guy.
Well, it's a fair concern. It's a fair observation, and I think it's also the new reality for everybody. And it's just, the transfer portal is a place now where you can find your next quarterback, and you didn't even have to recruit him. I mean, he's the guy that lost the battle somewhere else, and he's pissed because they're all doing it now.
Yeah,
and it's a new reality. We talked about this at the time too, right? That's the transfer portal. It's free agency in college football. It's like, listen, if you do too good a job of recruiting at one position, get ready. Somebody has to win that job, and somebody has to lose that job, and now they have options. Now they're not held captive, and you may call that a loser mentality or whatever, but that's the reality. This is going on everywhere. I mean, hell, Georgia just lost Fields. I mean, they're having great seasons. Yep. They're talented. Most of these kids want to believe certainly that they're capable of competing with anybody in the country. Yeah, that's fine. You say that, but then when they lose the job, they're gone.
Well, they lost Fields. They lost the kid to Washington, and Clemson shed 2 or 3. And Jalen Hurts leaves Alabama for 1 year because he wants to play instead of backing up Tua in his final year of eligibility. Kids want to play.
Yeah, they want to play.
They just want to play.
They want to go somewhere where they can, and now you're going to have to deal with that. I think anymore. If that happens, that's why you can't walk around on eggshells. Like, go get the best guy you can get. And if Blackman leaves, he leaves. And you just, you got your next year's quarterback already. Try to bring in 2 more, bare minimum. Hope like hell they're the kinds of kids that want to compete and don't get discouraged maybe if things don't go their way early. But the new reality is you're going to constantly be losing guys.
Well, in the grand scheme, this is where you could say that even though the process was stupid and flawed, they may have gotten it right. If James Blackman is going to stick around here, and you do get a low-level JUCO guy that can at least be competent and back up if Jordan Travis has the hardship not granted to him. Next year, you grab 2 and you're on pace because he has enough eligibility left, does James, that you always have him and Travis as an option next season moving forward with the 2 that come in. And now you're in a regular place.
With the Sims kid that comes in.
Yeah, with the Sims plus another 3-star kid.
And you got a chance to redshirt him if you needed to.
Sure.
And you're starting to build
That's where the redshirt works out. It's just, the whole Wake and Clemson thing.
Yeah. It's
F&A cotton, Jesus.
Seminole Headlines up next. Good work out of you, Tom. Good work, Matthew. And you guys enjoy the show. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.